Ever get that feeling like when someone says feedback, you're about to get pelted with rotten fruit, not helpful advice?
Yeah, I totally get that. Feedback's gotten a bad rap, hasn't it?
Uh,
But it really can be powerful when we approach it the right way.
right. There's a real art to it, both giving and receiving it. So, in this deep dive, we're tackling how to become feedback ninjas. And we've got 5 awesome tips to make it less scary and way more useful.
Love it. Less fear, more growth.
Exactly. And the first one is deceptively simple, but so crucial.
Okay, lay it on me.
It's all about how we listen. Because, and be honest, how often do we zone out mid-feedback, already crafting our defense?
Ugh, guilty as charged.
It's human nature, right? But that's where things go sideways. There's this idea of above the line and below the line thinking.
Ooh, tell me more about this line.
So below the line is that reactive mode. Defensive, closed off, not truly hearing what's being said.
Like, how dare you critique my masterpiece?
Exactly. But above the line is where the magic happens. It's curious, open to understanding the other person's perspective.
Okay, so less about prepping a rebuttal and more about actually absorbing the information.
Exactly. And even better, asking clarifying questions, which brings us to tip number 2.
All right, hit me with it.
So instead of, that's not what I meant, can you give an example to illustrate that point? See the difference.
It's huge. One's defensive, the other's seeking to understand.
Right. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing yet. It's about getting on the same page.
Which can be tricky because feedback often triggers big emotions. It's hard to stay rational when you feel attacked.
100%. That's why tip number 3 is all about hitting the pause button.
Ooh, the power of the pause. Explain.
Our brains need time to process, especially if we're about to launch into fight or flight mode.
I've definitely sent some regrettable emails in the heat of the moment.
Haven't we all? So give yourself a moment, maybe jot down your initial thoughts, but don't hit send. Revisit it later with a clearer head.
Love that. It's like sleeping on it before making a big decision.
Exactly. And this ties into our next tip, which is huge E for transforming our whole relationship with feedback, viewing it as an opportunity.
Easier said than done, right?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
But when we can see feedback, even the critical kind, as a chance to level up, that's where the real growth happens.
Because ultimately, even if we don't agree with every bit of feedback, there's usually something we can learn from it, right?
Right. Like maybe that feedback stings a bit, but it's highlighting a blind spot we didn't even know we had. And that's invaluable,
Absolutely. It's about taking our ego out of the equation.
which honestly is a lifelong practice, am I right?
For real. Okay, what's our final feedback ninja move?
This one's easy to forget, but makes all the difference. Gratitude.
Even when it's tough to hear.
Especially then. Saying something as simple as, thanks for sharing that, I'll give it some thought, can totally shift the dynamic.
Totally. It shows you're taking it seriously, which builds trust and encourages them to be open with you in the future.
Plus, it models the behavior we want to see when we're on the giving end of feedback, right?
Exactly. Full circle moment.
So there we have it. We went from dodging rotten tomatoes to high-fiving feedback. We've got active listening, clarifying questions, strategic pausing, reframing, and expressing gratitude.
Simple but powerful.
Exactly. So before we go, a little something to ponder. What's one tiny step you can take today to put just one of these tips into practice?
I love that challenge because even small changes can create a ripple effect.
Absolutely. And we'd love to hear about your experiences. Until next time, happy diving.